Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions here in the woods in Northeast Pennsylvania, and I'm delighted to be here with Jim Fuse, my amazing co-host, he's that way. Jim,
yes,
it's all yours.
And good afternoon, everyone. It's Jim Fuse, Fusion Marketing, coming to you live from Marietta, Georgia. And this is an international edition of the Tim and Jim Show. And we are joined by one of my favorite people, the tweeting goddess, Samantha Kelly, who is in the lovely country of Ireland, which I know Tim and I would both like to visit sometime soon. So Sam, tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for having me. I'm Sam, Tweeting Goddess on Twitter, and I'd like to say hello to all of the people who are not in Ireland who are watching, but also the people in Ireland who are watching, because I know a few of my followers are popping on to say hi. So thanks a million for having me. I suppose I'm 48. I'm a mum of two. I am a Twitter expert, and I also dabble in LinkedIn, and I run the Women's Inspire Network. So I'm really an expert at building communities, building relationships, and connecting the dots. I started when I was 40 in business, and I hadn't a clue, and I started using Twitter to market my business, and that's really how it all started.
And one of the really cool things, Tim, and I think it's an important story of kind of even how we got here is Sam and I met because of Twitter. So It was actually about 2 years ago. I was going as a first-time attendee to Social Media Marketing World 18, and I did a short video and I uploaded it on Twitter, and I did the hashtag, and Sam actually replied, and we communicated a little bit over the tweet. And so I was very excited because she was one of the speakers. And so when we arrive in San Diego and we're sitting in the registration area, who's one of the first people to walk in was Sam. And we, started a friendship. So we went from online to in real life, and here we are sitting today.
And you came to my talk, and I was up against Guy Kawasaki. Do you remember? And I was like, wow. Oh my God, who's going to come to my talk now? And actually, you and your lovely wife came, and a lot of people came that supported me. And so thank you, because that was really kind of you to do that. Thank you.
Well, we were starstruck, and we still are. It's always great to hear what you say, and I love what you're doing with the Women Inspire Network and how you truly do give and help people. And so, Tim, do you want to start us off with question number one?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just want to say before I ask the question that I'm really excited about this show, because I would say Twitter is the social network that I need the most improvement with. So I am delighted that you're here. So to kick off, here is question number one. How can we build an engaged community around us, Samantha?
Okay, well, first of all, you need to think about, okay, are your audience there? All right. There's no point in wasting your time going to Twitter if your audience are not going to be there. So most people can do well on Twitter. It's really about who do you want to connect with? If your demographic, if the demographic you're interested in is age 35 to 55, they're on Twitter. Journalists, they're on Twitter. There are whole communities on Twitter that are doing amazing things, like the farming community are doing amazing things on Twitter. So really? There's a whole, the farming community, the food community. It depends who you want. Small business owners use Twitter. Sure, that's how I started on it. Like when the girls were in bed, and I was actually lonely, and I started chatting on Twitter and promoting my business on Twitter, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was actually building relationships. And when I started building relationships, I started building real connections with people who actually ended up being customers. And then I found other like-minded people. So first of all, think, okay, who do you want to, if you want to build your profile and show you're the expert in what you do, go to Twitter. Because there are so many journalists looking for, I'm actually featured in an article today in Image magazine about women over 40 starting a business. And the reason the journalists reached out to me is because I had already been speaking about being a woman in business over 40. So when you start showing and speaking about consistently about the same topics, they will come to you. They're watching all the time. Like even when Jim put up that tweet and it was a little video, I happened to be lurking on the hashtag at the time because I wanted to see who I wanted to build a relationship before I even got to San Diego. I was stalking that hashtag and I was going, right, who can I connect with and who can I actually have a coffee with when I get there? I hadn't even landed. And already I had made a connection that I hadn't made before. And it was just so lovely for me, don't forget, walking into a strange place, landing on my own in America and walking into a room and seeing a familiar face that I'd already had a conversation with. So don't forget how you make other people feel. That's also what Twitter's about, you know?
Yeah, that is so true. And Samantha, you have continued to build community by using Twitter and LinkedIn. Yeah. What do you really think is a big part of that? Is it the consistency?
Absolutely, the consistency, but also adding value. And I know people say this all the time, but the reason they say it all the time is because it's true. You know, you have to have something that people are going to be interested in. So Twitter, if I look at your bio right now, if I look at your profile, have a look at your profile, everybody. And if you can see, think of it from someone else's perspective, some stranger clicking on your profile, think, would I follow me? Like, would I follow me? What am I going to be? Am I going to be complaining all the time? Am I going to be talking about something that I'm not interested in, like rugby or soccer? I'm not interested in that. So why would I follow you? But however, if you say in your profile that you actually are into social media or you're into business, you're passionate about supporting small business owners, even if you say you like dogs, you have a better chance of me following you, you know, because I like dogs, you know, so it's about finding your tribe, really. But definitely it's about consistency. I would definitely start sharing your knowledge. Like I share my knowledge a lot. I might give little Twitter tips now and then. And there are a lot of people that love those tips. But I'm also known for helping others. I don't talk about me. I talk about me a lot, okay? But I don't talk about me all the time. I do try and give someone a nice surprise. Surprise and delight your customers. Bonjoro always say that. Surprise and delight your customers. And when you retweet someone, like I have 51,000 followers or something, when I retweet someone that only has like 40 followers, like it makes their day, and that gives me a buzz. So
right. Well, and that's pretty cool. Sri said he's going to come back to watch later. So thanks, Sri.
Thanks, Sri.
We look forward to seeing what you think about this. So let's go to the next question, Sam, and that is, how do you use Twitter lists strategically? Because I know they're one of my favorites.
Okay, well, Twitter lists is a great way to fine tune your experience, because some people say to me, you know, Twitter doesn't work for me. You know, all I see is loads of negativity and certain presidents tweeting about stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, have you tried finding people that you really do like and putting them into a Twitter list? Because then in the morning, don't go to your home feed at all. Just go straight to your Twitter lists. And how I use Twitter lists, if you go to my Twitter feed, you might see a list of cake makers. And you're like, she has a list of cake makers. The reason I have a list of cake makers is people ask me on Twitter, does anyone know anyone who can make a birthday cake for this week? Does anyone know who can a locksmith? I'm asked this all the time because everyone knows I know all the small business owners on Twitter. And if I'm going to give business to someone, I'd rather give it to someone I know and a small business owner I know. And 85% of people on Twitter will buy from a small business owner they've engaged with on Twitter. And I do it all the time. If I'm buying a present, I go to Twitter, go to my Twitter list. I have a Twitter list of cool people. I have a Twitter list of impressive females. Like, who doesn't want to go on that list? So first of all, you're reconnecting with someone. So if let's say I put Jim on my cool people list, that Jim's going to be really happy with that, yeah? Oh, yeah. So it's going to make Jim feel good. It's also going to get me back on Jim's radar. And Jim could have been in a meeting that morning talking about, well, who should we get to speak at our conference? And then Jim's going to go, never thought of tweeting goddess, you know, and it gets me back on his radar. So Twitter lists are a great way to fine tune your experience, find people that you love and that you like. I have a list of social media stars. I have a list of Irish social media people that people might want to follow. But I also have like a list of, like, you know, the way sometimes you come across someone and you go, God, that guy's really interesting. And it could be like a model train provider, train railway guy or whatever. My husband likes model trains. I know, I married such a nerd, right? But he loves trains. So I have a list called trains because I know that when I do need a present, I'm going to forget who that guy is. So I put him on a Twitter list. So use it strategically for leads and sales as well. So if you put up something about a workshop you have coming up and someone says, oh no, I'm not there that date, put them on a Twitter list of future workshops, but don't put it in a public list. Put it in a private list.
Right.
Nobody wants to go on a list called leads. Nobody wants to go on that list. Okay. So we just be careful. Maybe use code words for your lists, you know?
Right. Well, and I think, and I created a list of all the speakers for Social Media Marketing World 20. Yeah. And one way I've been using that list, even as a way to connect with the speakers, is one, if people don't understand what a list does, it's showing you those brands or people's tweets in real time.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing some of their current content and I'm retweeting it with, as an example, you know, did you know that Madeline Sklar is speaking at hashtag Social Media Marketing World 20, you know, and then I even, you know, encourage people to follow the list. Yeah. So that's a great way with a public list to get exposure for those people. Because like you said, when you add them to the list, it's like Jim Fuse added you to this list. And like, who's this Jim Fuse guy? Yeah. You know, and I also
we're nosy. We will go and check you out. We will go and have a look. Yeah.
And the fact that people can subscribe to your list, so you could put it into an email if you want to use that for email marketing. The other thing, like you can do things by category, make it a private list. Like maybe you want to follow some technology. Because I think too, Sam, you probably agree, we don't always want to follow some of these people or brands back because one, they may not be something that we necessarily are sure what we think of them. Mm-hmm. And if they don't engage, why waste the time following them if they're not going to follow back?
Oh, don't even start me on not engaging. Tim, did you have a question there? You were going to say something, I think, were you?
Oh, I don't even remember what it is now, but I do have another one.
Yes.
I know I've heard that it's not a good idea to have, I can't remember which number it is, but either followers or the other number in terms of it's not good to have one number higher than the other kind of thing. Is that true, or is that a whole bunch of nonsense?
Okay, I'll give you an example. There is a Twitter account who is representing my country, and they have like 100,000 followers, but they're only following 2,000. And to me, I don't like that because that's actually kind of snobby. It means they're not engaging with the people who are actually, hi, Brian. Yay. She's on my really coolest. Sorry. So the thing is with this, like when you see someone that has thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, but they're only following a few, I would be very suspicious of that. And I wouldn't actually follow them because they're never going to engage with you. They're never going to, follow you back, and I think it's a bit snobby. But it is okay to be following lots of people and have lots of followers. It doesn't matter if you have less followers than the people you're following. Don't worry about that. Worry about the people who are following you. Not worry. I mean, they're the ones you want to focus on. And don't worry about the ones that unfollow you. So what? They're not your people. Stick to the ones that are engaging with you and look after the ones you already have.
Great. Those are some great tips. I've been wondering about that for a while. So thanks for answering that question.
Sam, is there still, I think that it used to be 2,000. Like if you didn't have like a close ratio of 2,000 each, you could not get additional people. And then I think I've seen it where maybe it got to 5,000.
Yeah, I think is it 4,000? I don't know. I see, because I'm over that, you see.
Right,
so I don't
a little bit.
But definitely there is something going on where you can't follow people unless you've the same amount of followers still. I think it's 4,000. To be honest, the tech side of Twitter, I'm not a techie at all. I talk about people, and Twitter is all about people. And I will never be a Madeline Sklar. Madeline Sklar knows all the tech side of everything about Twitter. But I am more about, I know the psychology with Twitter because I know it so well. I know it's all about how you make people feel. It's all about sharing other people's content. And even yesterday, that journalist that contacted me, now my article is in Image magazine about women over 40. I mean, that has a huge readership. Like, it's about building relationships and building allies around you who are going to become your brand advocates. I do marketing, yes, but a lot of my clients do my marketing for me. A lot of my Women's Inspire members, they just come out with stuff themselves and say, oh my God, really like the network, it's doing great things for me or whatever, or really enjoyed that webinar. So they're actually, you want people doing your marketing for you. And another thing that happens is if someone asks a question about Twitter, everyone goes, oh, sure, Tweeting Goddess will know the answer to that. And if I don't know the answer, I say, well, maybe Madeline Sklar would know the answer to that. You know, it's like, it's about people tagging you and showing they know that you're the go-to person. And that's what Twitter can do for you. It can make you the go-to person in your niche.
Right. Absolutely.
I
So
love that.
Tim, are you ready for the next question?
Drum roll. Ready.
Twitter polls.
Samantha, how can Twitter polls get you actionable information?
Oh, I love Twitter polls. If you go and put search in the search box, don't underestimate the power of the search box. If you put Twitter polls and then at Tweeting Goddess, you'll see all my Twitter polls. Twitter polls are a great way to get feedback from your audience about what they want. I remember I've done some fun ones like Brad Pitt or Liam Neeson. I've done like little fun ones, but I've also done really good ones like, do you respond or do you click on a link that comes from Facebook to Twitter? And I think it was 85% of people said no, they never click on a Facebook link. So with that information, I did a whole article about why you shouldn't use Facebook links in your Twitter, because that's so important. And it actually gives you ideas for article. It gives you feedback. I've done several Twitter polls where it could be something simple like, you know, oh, actually, there was a lady, a client I have, she loves saving the bumblebees and she has a big farm, a flower farm. And I said, seriously, Mags, I bet if you ask them on Twitter what they want from you, I bet they want loads of tips on how to make their garden bumblebee friendly. She went, no, they don't. I said, I bet they do. And so we did a Twitter poll. What would you like? Would you like me to give some tips about bumblebees? And 95% of people out of 100 said yes.
Wow.
So she's like, oh, okay. I guess I need to write about bumblebees then. So it's a really good way to find out information. It's like a survey. It's great.
Right. And how many, you can have actually more than 2 choices, because I know that's one of the issues with Facebook polls is you can only have 2 on a business page and you have to go into a group. Yeah. And I think they can be a lot of fun and, you know, support, you know, I'm sure there'll be the Super Bowl polls coming up in America.
Well, this is it. And it starts conversations off and you start engagement, because if you haven't engaged with your clients or your audience in a while, it's a great way to start another conversation. And the more controversial the question, the better. Like, you know, it could be something around women working and staying at home or something like that. It could be about something, but I try and keep away from controversy and I try and make it fun, but informative.
Right. And speaking of, I wouldn't call it controversy, but actually one of the speakers that you're having at the Women's Inspire Network is Ryan Folan. And I just finished reading his and Leonard Kim's book, Ditch the Act. And they talk about, and we talked about this earlier, about sharing, you know, some of the realness about you, but they also say there's certain things you really don't need to be sharing. And that's where we get into the whole politics and religion, unless that's your business.
Unless it's your business. Yeah, I stay away from it. People think I'm stupid because I have no opinion, you know, but I'm not. I just keep away from it. You know, it's just, it's like this, you know, I do let people in and I do tell them about the fact that I'm 11 years sober, because if it's going to inspire someone else, it's worth sharing. And it does inspire other people. I mean, don't forget, I had nothing when I started. I was a lone parent on social welfare. I felt like a useless member of society. And now I feel like a useful member of society. And that's such an important thing, an important message for people to hear. And if I can do this, you can do this. I didn't set out to have a big Twitter. I barely had a Facebook page when I started on Twitter. I didn't set out to do any of this. But what I've done is I've used it for good. I'm really, really lucky and blessed in my life where I am now. I've been through the whole teenage stuff. We were talking about that earlier. All that crappy stuff that everybody has crap. Everybody has stuff that goes on. And am I allowed to say crap? Sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody has stuff that goes on. But the thing is, the more people can see that actually, oh my God, she goes through crap as well. Actually, you know, it makes them feel a bit more, you know what, actually, maybe I'm okay and maybe I can do this, you know, and that's what it's about. It's about people inspire me. Ted Rubin used to inspire me on Twitter and I really liked his message. And so I listened to him and he always said community is key. And I have built a community from Twitter. and turned it into a business. It's the Women's Inspire Network. It's for female entrepreneurs, and it's global now because members join from all over the world because it's online like this. Like we're talking, I'm in Ireland, you're in America. It's amazing. So why can't we have a network where we meet like this online? And now it's a subscription model. So I've turned a hashtag on Twitter into a viable business, and it's a viable business only because I add value though. If I just ignored my customers and my members, I mean, at Christmas, we got wall planners made because everyone needs a wall planner. We all need a wall planner to plan our year. And I got wall planners made, printed. Yes, it cost me money. And yes, I had to roll the bloody planner into the thing. And then I had to put the lids on. And then I had to go to the post office. And then I had to post them. But you know how good that made my members feel? Getting their planner in the post.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about giving them something of value and making them feel like they're important. And that's what it's about. And that's what Twitter's about. Honest. That's what it's about.
Awesome. So, Sam, how can Twitter improve the customer experience and customer service? Because you hear about that a lot, but I don't see enough businesses taking advantage of that.
Yes, bizarre, isn't it? I mean, tomorrow, for example, there's a hashtag for the event that I'm going to be tweeting from. So be prepared to see TTS Live or the tourism space trending tomorrow in Ireland. So I'm going to be tweeting live from it. So one thing that you could do customer service wise is, keep an eye out for other events and other things that are happening so that you can find out what the latest news is for your clients or your customers. Be innovative and start using those hashtags when you're at an event. Make your client feel special. Like today we have our competition. Use the hashtag, what's the hashtag? Twitter Magic and the Jim and Tim show.
Right.
Yeah, the Tim and Jim show. And I will retweet it. That's looking after you guys. And you're not my customers, but I want to make you feel special. And it's about surprising and delighting your customers. So if you reply to a tweet, for example, let's say someone tweets you. I remember I was trying to get Justin Bieber tickets for my daughter at the time. Oh, I know all of his songs. But anyway, I was trying to get tickets and then I was like, oh my God. So I went onto the web people on Twitter and they replied to me. I said, I can't get online. I can't get online to get the tickets. She went, actually, it's tomorrow. They're on sale tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh, right. Really sorry there, made a mistake. And she went, is it too late for me to say sorry? Which is Justin Bieber's song. So she used humor. It was a corporate. She used humor to reply to me. And you know what? I'm still talking about it to this day. And I talk about it in my talks. I think I spoke about it at Social Media Marketing World. I mean, so I'm still putting their brand up on my screen, talking about that tweet. And that's what it's about. It's about being clever, being innovative and looking after your customers. And imagine like if you sent a tweet and then someone responded with a video reply. It's like, it doesn't have to be all just text, make that person feel special. And if someone does complain on Twitter, so let's say my tea was cold, I went to the cafe and my tea was cold, respond, engage, don't ignore it and take it offline to the next stage. Say, right. I'm really sorry to hear you had this experience. I would love to investigate. Could you please DM us? Could you please send us an email? And even if the customer says, no, I don't want to go to DM, well, then that's tough because in public, you've shown that you've tried to solve the situation. So they're the ones that will look like nutters. Yeah.
Yeah. So. One of my favorite things when I was in the Marines, we used to tell the folks that we worked with is like bad news does not get better with time. So you need to address it.
Yeah, just engage. You don't have to, if it's a troll, you can just block. How do you know it's a troll? They usually won't have a website or a bio. They usually won't have a picture. And just look through their past few tweets. So don't worry, they wouldn't have many followers either. But there was one person who did have a lot of followers, but she kept saying, I'm not going to DM. I'm not going to DM. And in the end, she was the one that looked stupid, because the brand had tried to engage with her. So, it's about, don't ignore anyone, and it doesn't matter how many followers they have. Don't ignore them because they could be just a beginner on Twitter. I remember actually I had a call with someone who was the head of Twitter EMEA when I was doing my social media summit years ago. And I remember, I had this video call, a Skype call, and he was like, oh, sure, my dad loves you. I'm like, your dad? I said, who's your dad? And it was a man in Cork who had 400 followers and his name was Jim, actually. He had 400 followers. And I was like, oh my God, So he was saying, "Oh, have you seen what Tweeting Goddess is doing to this guy who worked at Twitter? Like you just don't know who's watching. You just don't know."
Right. Tim, you have any other questions on the customer experience and service? Do you know, any thoughts?
I mean, I just think it's so important just overall, not just on Twitter, but all the social networks that brands are responding to questions, responding to DMs in a timely manner, right?
Absolutely. And I expect a response within half an hour. But most people, I did a Twitter poll on this as well. That's another thing I did. I did a Twitter poll on this. 6 hours was acceptable to people. And then most people won't mind if you say in your bio, this Twitter account is manned from 9 until 5 p.m. They won't mind if it's the next day once it says it on your bio, you know. But, you know, if I was an owner, another thing I would recommend is the owner, the CEOs, the owners need to be watching. They need to have access to their Twitter account. I've seen it. The chef got the sack before Christmas and went crazy on the Twitter account. The owner didn't have access. The owner didn't have access. So it's really important for the CEOs, the owners, the business owners to understand it and to have access to it so that they can see what's going on. I had a particular hotel. The owner of the hotel didn't even know that this particular hotel was ignoring me all the time, even though I was tweeting them. And even though I did a picture when I was at the hotel, I said, "Thank you for the lovely service." Nothing.
Wow.
I did a tweet to 50,000 people and they didn't even thank me. Now, I wasn't doing it for thanks. It's just, you know, it would have been kind of nice, like, you know, but the owner didn't know that. And when the owner found out, they weren't happy, you know.
Right. Well, and I think that's a great point. Like even for maybe businesses that are part of a business association or chamber, the chambers, they need to understand that sometimes they're being tagged, because I've seen it firsthand. And they don't even respond or reply or retweet. It's like, why are you on Twitter if you're not going to use it to engage and even promote your own members? I think that's a huge opportunity.
That's a very common one. Actually, do you know a chamber that is great? The Irish Chamber in Philadelphia. I'm actually going to be speaking in Philadelphia in April, and they're actually doing an event, and I'm going to be speaking at it. But I do find they're one of the most engaged chamber accounts I've ever come across. And that's because they have the person understands Twitter. They engage, they retweet when someone tags them. And you're right. If it's like our members. If we have a member of Women's Inspire Network, they tag us anytime we retweet them. We are the most responsive social media women's network. We're the most responsive women's network, I would say, in the world. If you tweet us, we'll respond.
Right.
Yeah.
And so speaking of that, Sam, what are 3 simple ways that we can dramatically improve our Twitter experience?
Okay, well, first of all, Twitter lists. Okay, so make sure you do start having a look at Twitter lists. Look at my lists if you want to start. Jim, do you have any lists that people can, the social media one, yeah?
Yes, yes.
So have a look at our lists, start following some of the people there. And, you know, I wouldn't have a list called awesome females unless they actually were awesome. So, you know, there's going to be no bitches there. There's going to be no idiots. So, you know, go and have a look at the lists that I have and see if there's anyone there you'd like to follow. Another great way is use Twitter Live. Because when you use Twitter Live, I mean, I don't know, was yours a Twitter Live, Jim, when you did your video? But when
it was recorded.
Yeah, when you use Twitter Live or video on Twitter, it really lets people in a little bit and show them behind the scenes. And that's going to improve your experience because you're going to attract the people you want. Like your bio, if you look at my bio, it says nice people collector. It doesn't say idiot and troll collector. It says nice people collector. So who am I going to attract? I'm going to attract nice people. Okay. So I have a lovely experience. I remember I was actually running a politician's account at one stage and I used to be there and then I go back to mine and I go, oh, I'm back in lovely land. Whereas, you know, it's so different, you know, but you know, and my tip number 3. So use Twitter Live as tip number 2. Don't be afraid to press the red button and use Twitter Live, okay? And just say it's your first Twitter Live. People on Twitter are really supportive and understanding. You only hear the bad stuff from the media. You don't hear the really, really good stuff that happens. And number 3, follow me.
Right.
That's my 3rd tip. So follow me. And if you want a better experience on Twitter, I can help you. If there's someone you want to connect with, tag me and just say, oh, I saw you on the show. If you mentioned Jim, you mentioned him, then you're in.
Right.
Awesome.
And one of the things too that we're going to share with everyone afterwards is, Sam, tell us about the course you've got going.
Oh, my 6-step program. Yeah, I started doing that. And that's another thing as well. I learn a lot on Twitter as well. There's a lot of people sharing really good stuff. You can learn on Twitter Smarter Chat, on the Women's Inspire Chat. You can learn all about running your business. So I started the 6-step program because I knew I could reach a global audience and I could teach anyone all over the world. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I can teach you. We just do a call every week, 1-hour calls, and there's 6 1-hour calls. And I teach you how to use Twitter and LinkedIn and get more opportunities and to get more speaking moments and stuff like that. And I love it. I love teaching. One-to-one is best, I think. Yeah.
Right. And so just in case people did not realize, we're going to have a little bit of, if you want to call it, a contest and a way for you to get more engagement on Twitter.
Today.
Now.
Yeah.
Yes. So Sam, you want to tell them what they have to do in order to have a chance to win this contest today?
Okay. So tweet now with hashtag the Tim and Jim show and then hashtag Twitter Magic and tell me what you do, or send me a link to your website or whatever you want because I'm going to retweet it to 51,000 people. So anyone that uses both those hashtags, take a selfie, take a picture of the show. Everybody smile. Take a picture of the show and put it up because number 1, you're helping Jim. Number 2, you're helping Tim. You're helping me. You're helping the show. You're helping the reach of the show. And then I'm going to retweet you guys. So you are all going to reach more people than you ever reached before. And also I can put you on my little Twitter list then as well. So you're going to win. Sorry, you're going to win a copy of my book. Sorry. So everyone gets a retweet and you'll win a copy of my book for the best tweet. The best tweet. Get creative, folks. Use your imagination. Yeah.
Awesome. So Tim, do you have any other thoughts? I've got it. Now, Tim, you have something exciting coming up this week that we should tweet about.
What's that?
I do. Recently, I started a brand new live show. So I have officially joined the crazy people of live streaming with more than one show now. Wow. And it's called the Family First Show. And it's for entrepreneurs and small business owners who are also parents who are juggling work and life, or life and work, however you want to think about it. So tomorrow night at 9:00 Eastern time, we will have, our guest will be Gene Petrov. He's you know him. Awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
Met him in social media marketing world. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're excited to have him. Our first guest was Rob Balasabas, who is now working for TubeBuddy. So really this show was inspired because last year my business was doing great, but my family life and my stress level was just crazy. So, and I was also thinking of other ways to create content, not just about marketing and, how to do whatever with Facebook or Twitter, but what's something else that I'm passionate about. And I'm very passionate about my family and all of that. So anyway, so join tomorrow night. Would love to have anybody come. And if you're interested in hearing about Gene, who has triplets, imagine that, balancing work and life with triplets.
Oh my God. Are they girls? Are they triplet girls? Or?
I think it's 2 girls, 1 boy. And I think
can you imagine the teenage years? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, well, Tim, I have to say, actually, our members will probably love that. So please tag me anytime. I actually saw that.
Awesome.
I saw that on Twitter. I think I retweeted.
Yes, thank you. I saw that. Thank you very much.
I have a lot of actually women as well in the family space as well. See, I'm just thinking here now. You see, this is what happens when we do things like this. I know there's a lot of women that there's a midwife, for example. There's another woman who's who talks to women about after they've had their baby. So you see, she brings the men into it too, though, Tim. You see, it's not just about the women, it's about the men. And we forget the men sometimes just because the woman's having fertility issues or whatever. There's the man as well is suffering too. And, and I think this is really important what you're doing, Tim, because you're actually getting guys to talk. And you even got emotional there when you were talking about your family. And it's lovely. And it's lovely to hear. So well done.
Yeah. And I'm doing something exciting that I will be tweeting about later is I'm helping a fellow Marine veteran launch a product on Kickstarter. It is the backpack for the bike to work community. It's Grunstrasse is the name of his company. and we launched it yesterday. We had an amazing video that was done by a previous guest, Trenton Carson of TC Productions. So we'll be tweeting about that. Make sure you check out that backpack. I went ahead and ordered a couple. It's an amazing bag, and so excited about that. And excited to have one of my favorite people, Sam, join us today. Thank you so much, Sam. It's such an honor to have you join us. And I know Karen and I definitely want to come to Ireland. My daughter actually spent 6 weeks there one summer, and I think Tim had a thing. Yeah, she studied in Dublin. This was before we knew each other. She did she studied abroad, and she had nothing but great things to say about Ireland. So,
you can all come. Anyone who's watching, come over to my conference in October 21st. You can all come over. I don't mind. I mean, definitely there's good offers at the moment on flights, so definitely check it out. Yeah.
Right. And so next week we have an exciting guest. We're going to have Daniel Glickman of Wave Video is going to be on. So we'll be talking about how possibly you can use Wave Video to increase your exposure. Not to mention, I think you can upload it to Twitter, right? So there's always ways to use stuff on Twitter. So Sam, what are your big events you've got coming up? You've got a big event coming up soon, don't you?
The event tomorrow that I'm working at. So that's the Tourism Space event, and then I have the Women's Inspire Network in October. That's our annual conference, and then actually in Philadelphia in April. So follow me, and I'll be tweeting out details about that later. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, whether you're live and on replay, and check the link, the comments. We'll be putting the link to Sam's 6-step program, and we'll be looking for those tweets today. Thank you, Sam, so much.
Yeah.
All right. Bye everyone.
Bye.